Are we on? Yeah? Right, should we start? Oh, we have started. Oh. So welcome back. Not going to be an instructional video this time. Wanted to do something slightly different. I've had so many comments, and you know what? The channel is doing so well, and that's mainly down to you guys for interacting, liking all the videos, for hammering up the comments, for really getting involved with all the content. And we've had so many questions. Do you know, I just thought it was time we went through some of them. Got some questions here on the phone, and I'm going to go through them and answer the ones that I can. I will just say before we go any further that those of you with a keen eye across social media, particularly over on Instagram, may have noticed a new addition to the Murphy household. His name is Elton. He is a four-legged chocolate baby Labrador. And he may well make an appearance in this video at some stage. He's literally sat at my feet now, just out of shot, just down there. He may well come and sit next to me or on me at any moment. If you want a bit more puppy content on the channel, let me know. There must be some puppy-based trick shots out there that we can come up with. What do you think, Elton? He said it was a good idea. Right, let's jump into these questions then. Oliver Rourke, 6538, messaged, and he says, hi, Sean, in a competitive frame, how many shots are you looking in front in a frame? And this is the old question, isn't it, which we've been asked, you know, pro snooker players have been asked this for time immemorial, is about how many shots are you looking ahead when you're break building? Are you thinking 2, 3, 4 shots ahead? I'm sure I've done a video on this already in terms of break building, but, you know, it really depends on the situation. There's no hard and fast rule about it. I think these types of things, they come together quite naturally. It's generally, I would say, you know, anywhere between 3 and 5 shots, something like that. But especially if there's a red or reds on or near a cushion, or let's say you're clearing up to steal the frame and you think, well, that yellow's on that cushion over there, I better think about how I'm going to get to that. You would think about that very, very quickly in plotting your route around the table. So it very much depends on the situation, but in a normal break building style, it's probably between 3 and 5. I can hear you all shouting, well, Sean, that means 4. So let's go with 4. Now I don't know whether this was meant to be Mr. Astute and the tag was gone, but it's Mr. Astute. In reality, in a tournament, how soon might you think I'm going to go for the 147? Obviously, you pot a red and you get on the black, that's 8 points. And you would never break the way that I've been doing in the frames. That's totally right. Would you just get 4 or 5 reds and blacks and then think it's on? Or would it be sooner or later than that? Well, there's been some funny examples, hasn't there, over the years? Do you remember that match a few years ago at the Crucible where I think Ding got to maybe just 2 reds left and he potted the third last red and screwed up the table for the blue. He was perfectly on the red to run through for the black. Totally forgot what he was doing and played up for the blue. He was 26 shots in and hadn't realised. There's been a couple of times where, you know, I've made a few 147s and I might have potted 5 reds, 5 blacks, and suddenly the frame's opened up and you become aware that there's a really good chance on for the 147 here. And I'll be honest, a couple of times it's happened where I've gone for it from the very first shot. And I suppose the most famous one of them all is the one that I made at the shootout a few seasons ago. And my opponent, Bulsha Revez, broke off, hit the blue. The black was available to both pockets. He left me a long red. I potted the red. And I remember thinking to myself, before I potted the red, let's see if we can get on the black and see how far down the journey for a 147 I can get. I still can't believe it happened, to be totally honest. Spencer Browning, 4126, says, do you practice the maxi every day in your lovely house? Well, thank you very much. I certainly practice different routines and generally end up making 147s every single day, be it the lineup, the T, the X, all of which I've done videos on before on the channel if you want to check those out. But practicing for 147s is something that I first started doing with my old coach, Chris, years ago, many seasons ago, where I hadn't made that many. And we did some really good practice routines, focusing on those things. That was Elton, by the way, if you heard a funny noise, that wasn't me. Do you mind? I'm trying to do some filming here. This is a very serious video, Elton. Now, we're going to do a little thing for YouTube. I'm sorry I'm boring you. You got any questions you'd like to ask? I don't think Elton's a snooker fan. He is only a puppy. You'll have to forgive us. Where was I? Yeah, the 147s. Chris said, I'm going to get you making more maximums. And that's exactly what happened. And I think it's still a record. I made 3 147s in 1 calendar year. Don't think that's been beaten. So that was all about practicing for the 147. I think if you get comfortable doing these things, then they become easier to do. Painfully honest news. That sounds like a serious handle to me. Are you able to have a mic on while playing so we can hear your thoughts, or is that not allowed? Well, it's funny you should say that, because a lot of people have suggested, tongue-in-cheek, over the last few seasons while I've been doing the commentary and the studio punditry for BBC, that the only thing I've not done is stuck a microphone on and commentated on myself whilst playing. No, we're not allowed to do it. There was some talk a few seasons ago. I don't know if any of you watch golf, but occasionally on golf, a player will hit the tee shot and a journalist will meet them after the tee shot. They put a little ear pod in and they walk down the fairway being interviewed by the presenter between shots. There was talk of something like that happening, maybe at the Masters at some stage, between frames as the referee racks the balls. You know, the player is given the earpiece, they stick the earpiece in, and maybe the commentator, or it might be Hazel in the studio, might, you know, offer a few questions to that player sat in their chair in the match to get their thoughts live, but it's not happened yet. William Crawford, Y7K. Hi, Sean. I've put some time in on these shots when you find yourself wrong side of the blue. Again, that's a video that we've covered. A really important video, that, if you want to track back and have a look at it. Working on the check side one, going between the colours and coming back on the same line. One I didn't mention. Well, forgive me, I don't remember that, but I mean, it's a very, very important shot. Maybe I didn't mention it because it's too difficult, and it's a shot that certainly as professionals we would seek to avoid that. You know, you go in between the colours, don't try to come back between them. Get out to the side cushions. It's easier. But if you have to play it, then it's important to know how to do it. To be honest, I'm getting nowhere. I know the basics, stun with check side. I'm playing on an old table with thick cloth. Could that be the cause of my heartache? Well, definitely, if you're applying spin to the ball, anytime you don't strike the cue ball in the centre, you're applying some form of spin, be it top spin, screw, and then side, be it running side or check side. If you're playing on what we call a heavy cloth or an old cloth, then by the time that cue ball, you've spun it off the tip, by the time it strikes the object ball and heads up towards the cushion, on an old cloth, that spin is virtually gone. So I'm not sure which side of the table you're playing from. Let's say you're playing to go between brown and yellow. My guess would be that you're hitting the yellow on the way back up because you're playing with the check side. That side is no longer there by the time it gets to the cushion. And instead of coming back between yellow and brown, it hits the yellow or maybe goes the other side of the yellow. Obviously the reverse for the other side of the table. But yeah, no question about it. The conditions will have a massive effect on whether that shot works or not. MSN channel 6949. Hi Sean, great content as always, thank you. Would you consider using a head-mounted or point-of-view camera for some shots? Well, absolutely, and there will be some of that coming at some stage. Of course, it's great to give you guys the view of what I see, and that's exactly what I want to give you. Just in having a little look at, you know, different tech to see what's out there. If GoPro's the way to go, then that's what I'm going to do. Just trying to see if there's anything better out there first before we go down that road. But yeah, at some stage, that's definitely going to be coming your way. James hyphen CX5WH, really rolls off the tongue, that name. Can you do an exhibition style video? Not sure how that would go, but just playing really fancy shots. Yeah, do you know what? We might do that, actually. That's a really good idea. We might have a look at, instead of playing like a serious match style video, what would I do, you know, like in the frame, we might have a look at what, you know, in each situation, playing the most exuberant, fanciest shot, almost like naughty snooker, a bit Judd Trump style, those shots that he plays at the end of frames. We might look at doing a frame or two where we play the whole frame like that. I'm not sure how that would go. Stay tuned. This is the longest handle I've ever seen. Left-handed screwdriver 3954 says, great video, thank you. I suppose cue ball control is going to need a reasonable quality cue. Can you recommend any cues? And you know what? It's difficult because it's very easy to make the assumption that the more money you spend and the more expensive a cue is, the better it's going to perform. And unfortunately, that's just not the case. You can spend thousands of pounds or dollars or euro, I'm not sure where you're based, but you can spend a lot of money on a beautifully made cue, no question about it. But don't forget that the cue that Stephen Hendry won 7 world championships with was as bent as a banana. And I think he paid about £30 for it. Ken Doherty's recently got a new cue, having played with the same cue for his whole career, going back to being a child, a cue that he bought for £5 in Dublin so many years ago. So don't be fooled into thinking the more money I spend, the better the cue's going to be and the better it'll perform. It doesn't work like that. Find a cue that you like, find a cue that works for you, doesn't matter how much it costs, and go with the one that gives you the best results. I'm not sure how to say this handle. It's like Feroxludum. That doesn't sound right, does it? Not sure how to say that. Any of you guys that have listened to my podcast will know that I really struggle with some of these. Was this the first 147 ever filmed with commentary while it was being made? Well, you're referring to the 147 that was on In the Frame a few episodes ago. And yeah, I'm not aware of another one out there. I'm aware of a few that might have been, botched together over the years. There's a couple of ropey ones out there. There was one that was shown many, many years ago on BBC during some, a lull in play, maybe an interval or somewhere. There was quite a famous one shown, but there might have been some editing involved. As far as I'm aware, that was the first ever commentated 147. So that was pretty cool. Okay, going to try this one. This is FAREJINHAS. Forgive me, I've absolutely butchered your handle on here. Where do you aim when you pot the black with side spin? You haven't told me where on the table you're starting from, where the cue ball is. Is it above the black? Is it below the black? Are we on the left-hand side of the table, the right-hand side of the table? Are you using check side, right-hand side, running side, whatever it might be? You've not told me how high up the cue ball you're hitting. Are you hitting the cue ball hard? Are you hitting it soft? All of these factors change where you would aim the black when potting it with side spin. It's called cue ball deflection, and I've already done a video on it way back when. So have a look. Okay, guys, the last question that I'm going to go through at the moment. I've really enjoyed this. I hope you have. Get stuck into the comments, like the video, turn all your notifications on. If you are new to the channel, make sure you're subscribed. You won't miss any future content. This is the last question that I'm going to go through for now. We'll be back to some more coaching content very, very soon. At Shoreit says, hi, Sean, love the channel, thank you. I have a question about your trick shot in the Welsh Open where you rattled the cue ball in the corner pocket to bounce off the ball cushion with check side. You obviously went for the shot, correct? People have doubted that. But did you know exactly how the pocket would spit the cue ball out? Or was there some element of luck? Or was it just good judgment? Do you know what? I've been meaning to get this off my chest for a long time. It's been tough to carry this one. It's been a weight on my shoulders that I just can't live with anymore. What actually happened on that shot was